As you've read about all week, the Georgia Bulldogs had a massive recruiting weekend in Athens this past weekend, hosting guys like Arch Manning, Caleb Downs, Justice Haynes, and they've got another big recruiting weekend ahead this weekend where they're going to be hosting a number of top targets on official visits. The first guy I want to talk about, Jamal Jarrett, big three-star defensive tackle. Don't let the ranking fool you. This guy is 6'5", 330 plus pounds, sheds blocks, makes plays in the backfield, moves well for his size, eats up double teams, and that's exactly what Trey Scott is looking for in this class. Clemson is a recent team that's offered him. North Carolina, the in-state Tar Heels are a team to watch, but as I've reported for months now, I think Georgia leads for Jamal Jarrett, and he's a guy who I think could come in and maybe push for playing time. They need guys in the middle of the trenches, big, strong guys who can eat up double teams like Jordan Davis did. And that's kind of their recruiting pitch to him. Jordan Davis, a three-star defensive lineman from North Carolina, same as Jamal Jarrett. Trey Scott, defensive line coach, has a lot of ties to the state of North Carolina. I think Georgia is the team leading here, and I think that they could win him over with a successful official visit this past weekend. He's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. Five-star Janelle Aguero, big-time safety, the number 2 safety in the country, in my eyes, behind in-state safety Caleb Downs. He's going to be taking his official visit. He just released his top 4, but at the end of the day, I think Georgia and Miami are the 2 teams who are going to battle it out for the hard-hitting safety. Big-time prospect, I think. Florida is still in the mix. Ohio State, I think, is still in the mix. But from everything I've heard the past few months, Georgia is sitting in a great spot for Aguero. Will Muschamp, Kirby Smart, both have made him a top priority along with Caleb Downs. And if they get both of those guys at safety, that's probably the best safety duo I've seen Georgia sign in a long, long time. That's their goal. Those are the 2 guys they want. And Aguero will be in town for his official visit this weekend. Big, big deal there. A guy to keep an eye on. I think he can make a decision this summer. And again, with a successful official visit to Georgia this weekend, it would not surprise me at all if Georgia took the lead and stayed atop of his recruitment list throughout the summer in hopes of landing his commitment in the next couple of months or so. So 5-star safety, number 2 in the country in my eyes, going to take his official visit to Georgia. That is a big deal. Anthony Evans, 3-star wide receiver out of Texas, one of the fastest prospects in the country. Track star, dude can outrun anyone that he goes against over in his region in Texas. He's a deep ball threat, can score on any particular play when he has the ball, can return kicks and punts. He's electric with the football. He's explosive, quick, fast, whatever you want to call him. He checks all those boxes from a speed standpoint. Of course, they want to bring in more speed every class, and he's a guy who definitely brings that to the table. So not exactly sure where he stands on Brian McClendon's board. He's going after the best of the best in the country for the 23 class. But Anthony Evans, if he has a committable offer, I think could absolutely sign with Georgia when the time comes. Big official visit here for him. Another wide receiver, Tyler Williams, 4-star out of Florida, one of the fastest rising wide receiver prospects in the Sunshine State. I think this comes down to Georgia and Clemson in the end. Sure-handed receiver, about 6'2", about 185, 190, so he's got plenty of size on him. Can run a route, can beat you deep, can make a big play in the screen game. There's a lot you can do with a receiver like him. Again, not exactly sure where he sits on McClendon's board. He's already got one on the commit list, and Raymond Cottrell, and he's going after a lot of guys. That's a big wide receiver board that they have in Athens, and these 2 can play. So again, I don't know how hard they're pushing for these guys, but they're going to be on official visits to Georgia this weekend. So if Georgia continues to push hard for these 2, I can definitely see both of them, or one or the other, signing with Georgia in the end. 2 different receivers. Tyler Williams, kind of a bigger body possession receiver, where Evans is a lightning quick speedster. So both are guys who are familiar with Athens, have been to Georgia recently, earlier this year. So definitely 2 guys to keep an eye on. On the offensive line, Shamumarov, big promising offensive tackle out of Denmark High School over in my neck of the woods. A lot of promise, a lot of potential, still developing and learning to play the position. But he's coached by one of the best offensive line coaches in the state of Georgia. So he's got official visit to Georgia this weekend, was at Michigan State for an official visit last weekend. I know the Tennessee Volunteers are pushing hard for him. So he's a guy who really blew up last year after his junior season. plenty of size, about 6'6", 300 plus pounds. He's got the frame, he's got the potential that coaches like, so just has to turn it on a little bit, keep developing, and I think he will do that this offseason and into his senior season. So I don't know if George is pushing as hard for him as others, but he remains a prospect to definitely keep an eye on. And then 2 linebackers in town are a really big deal. Grayson Howard, who was in town at the end of May for the Kirby Smart scavenger hunt weekend, always a big recruiting weekend at Georgia. Florida, South Carolina are the other 2 teams involved here. The Gators are pushing really hard for the fast, hard-hitting, instinctive linebacker out of Jacksonville. South Carolina has been the team to beat from what I've been told for the past several months, but now that Georgia and Florida are pushing hard for him, I'm not sure where South Carolina sits with him now. That's just how it is. But if Georgia continues to push for him, I think they absolutely have a really good shot of stealing him away from South Carolina and Florida, 2 teams who have been recruiting him really hard over the last several months. Was a tackling machine last year for in the Jacksonville area, and a guy who I think could climb the 2023 rankings over time. Then Troy Boyles, his father coaches the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so son of a coach, smart, instinctive, knows how to play the position. They don't get a whole lot better than him. Of course, he plays down in Florida. Doesn't talk much about his recruitment, but from everything I've heard, Georgia is definitely a team in the mix and maybe, the leader behind the scenes for him. But when you're thinking about playing for a guy like Glenn Schumann with his resume, who knows how to develop and get his guys to the league, it's easy to see why some of these top linebackers in the country are looking strongly at Georgia. And if you're a linebacker right now, it's going to be really tough to say, Coach Schumann, no, I'd rather play for someone else and for another school, especially with the way he's been pumping out linebackers to the NFL over the last several years. So 2 linebackers to definitely keep an eye on this weekend. Again, it might not be as talented as last weekend's visitor list was, but these guys are a big deal, and there's a reason why they're coming to Georgia. The staff is recruiting all of these guys, so they're definitely names to know, and those are just a few guys. There's going to be plenty more visitors in town, but for the latest on those guys, you're going to have to go over to Dog Post. Check us out. We've got recruiting scoop all week. My hands are hurting from typing up all these recruiting stories, trying to give the latest out to y'all. So make sure you head over to Dog Post for the latest on the guys that I mentioned and others who will be in town. So another big weekend ahead for Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. Every weekend in June is going to be big. This weekend is no different. Guys, thanks for watching this video. As always, stay tuned to the next one coming up right now, and I will see you over on Dog Post.